Oh, hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to our first shot at Barley Drunk History. It all started in about 2008, and Jason Carver and I got together. He had a birthday, I brought some beer. It was terrible. Couldn't control my fermentation, and it turned out really awful. And people started calling it Barley Legal, hence the name. Jason kind of suckered me into this whole thing. I'm pissed at him, and I thank him every day. These guys have become some of my best friends, and one of them is even my brother-in-law. But it all started with Jason saying, "Why don't you come over and play some music? We'll go to open mic night." And I'm like, "I'm not doing that." You know, my budding career, I was traveling all over the country, in and out of China, and I thought, there's no way I'm going to spend time doing this. And he said, "Well, why don't I just come over, and we'll play a couple songs." And I said, "Well, okay, that'll work." And we get to feeling pretty good, and he said, "Hey, it just so happens to be open mic night tonight. Do you want to go?" And I'd been turning him down for open mic for like 4 months, and so I was like, "Yeah, okay, sure." And he's like, "Good, because I already called in and put our name down." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, sweet." About 2 weeks later, Jason Carver says, "Hey, I got us a whole band," and I'm like, "A whole band? Like it's just you and me?" And he's like, "Well, I got this soccer buddy that plays piano, my old drummer. Let's get together." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we get together. We put this list of ridiculous songs down, and rehearsed in my living room, and it was terrible. About 2 weeks after that, he's like, "Hey, my buddy Mike wants us to come play Sundays at On the Rocks," and I'm like, "Do we have like maybe 5 or 10 songs that we know, and a bunch of songs that we can't even barely muddle through?" And he goes, "Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? We'll do a couple shots and see what happens." And pretty much every Sunday for the next few years, we did our gigs at On the Rocks. And our first official gig was the Susie's gig. A lot of you might remember Susie's. And we must have had, I don't know, 150 people in that spot. Not because they wanted to come see a really great band, but they just wanted to come see how bad we could screw this up or how funny we could be. And a few weeks after all this, Jason Carver said, "Hey, I've got about 15 songs that I'd like to record at some point." And we all like, within months, we went from me and Carver playing a song in my living room and then going to open mic night to having a full-on band, getting ready to record an album. So we pulled it all together and we worked super duper hard, and that's my moment in drunk history.